Time for a conversation with Maryland Governor Larry Hogan here on the Talk of Delmarva, 92.7 WGMD, WGMD.com, and the WGMD app.
All right, at 8:36, the governor joining us on the Newsmaker line. Governor, good morning, sir. Welcome back to WGMD.
Hey, Mike, good morning. It's great to be with you.
Now, I know the last time I joked with you that I've seen you more in person than I've seen my parents over the last several months, but I'm happy to report I have seen my parents a few times since last we talked, so we're getting
good.
there.
I mean, I tried to make you feel guilty about that.
You did.
Your parents more.
I told him that, and my dad said, tell the governor it's not a big deal. He's okay with time spent away.
That's funny. He's kind of tired of you anyway. Huh?
Yeah, pretty much now. We have a great relationship.
Hey, it's really good to be with you. It's great to be back on the shore again, and we're excited to be on the show again this morning.
Well, and let's start with yesterday's events. I know you had a lot going on, and then let's talk about today on the shore as you're down for a couple of days here before the election.
Well, first of all, Mike, I promised when I was running for governor that I was going to spend more time and attention down here on the shore, and we've been back time and time again. And here at the end of the campaign, early voting starts next week, and we're 17 days away from the election. I wanted to come back and try to do as many stops as I could. We're trying to hit areas all over the place. We started out yesterday morning in Baltimore City with a big jobs announcement, and then I went to Federalsburg, where we were with Crystal Steel, where they've got 70 jobs and they're adding another 50. And then I went to Sharpstown, the American Legion, and I got to thank some of our veterans and give some Vietnam service area pins that some of the veterans never got when they came back. We had a big get out the vote rally in Fruitland last night, and which was exciting and a big crowd. And now we're in Salisbury, and we're going to Cambridge, and then Easton for another jobs announcement. So we're covering the shore, and happy to have the opportunity to talk with you.
Well, and I've talked with your staff. I've talked with Mary Beth Carosa, and we'll talk about her coming up. That really, in a lot of ways, this is like your second home. And again, it does, I think, Eastern Shore residents a world of good to know that they have a governor that's over here often. And also in your thoughts, in your staff's thoughts, when it comes to policy decisions, legislation, et cetera. Again, that's a huge change from what we had the previous 8 years.
Well, it's I've always loved the shore, but it's also that there was a conscious commitment that I made, saying that I really did feel that the shore was being neglected and forgotten, and yeah. I said that was not going to happen, and we've been back time and time again. I've been to every single county on the shore, and over and over again, and but I love it every time I cross that bay. I get a great feeling. So, and the closer I get down to Ocean City, the better it feels.
Yeah, no doubt. I've always felt that way myself as well. I'm a little biased to the beach, to say the least. Now, in terms of Crystal Steel, just quickly, did that have to do with the manufacturing tax credit there, or the enterprise zone?
Well, yeah. So this was a company that had done some business in Maryland, but they also had a big facility in Delmar, Delaware, and they were thinking about doing their next big expansion. And they were thinking about Delmar. And my commerce folks and some of the local people said, hey, we might have a shot at this. And there was a former ES Steel building in Federalsburg that we thought might fit their needs. And I personally called the president, Bill Lowe, and not sure just my call pushed him over the edge. A lot of people worked hard on it, but we were happy. This was 2 years ago or so, and but we just stopped in there yesterday, did an official ribbon cutting, although they've been open for a while, and they're announcing another 50 jobs, and just really excited. Those are jobs that are much needed in Federalsburg, and it's a great Maryland company.
Now, to switch gears for a second with the campaign, so you were on the Eastern Shore yesterday and today. I believe you'll be in Southern Maryland this weekend. And just for our listeners to know, and I've got to throw in a little music in here just quickly, as compared to your opponent who's heading out west to raise money. And, of course, the Scott McKenzie song. Yeah, so I don't know if Ben Jealous is going to wear a black-eyed Susan in his hair. Well, actually, he's not allowed to pick those. But but he's heading to San Francisco to raise money, Mr. Governor. I mean, this is crazy. It goes to show you where his campaign is at.
Well, it gets even better than that, Mike, because last night and today he's in New York. He went to a SEIU meeting in New York. So while I was in Federalsburg and Sharpstown and Fruitland and Baltimore City yesterday, he was in New York. Yeah. I'm in Salisbury, Cambridge, Easton, right. And then I'm going down to just all over Southern Maryland on Saturday. tomorrow, and he's going to be in California. So I just can't imagine the last weekend before voting starts.
For early voting, yeah, right.
Yeah, which is next Thursday, that you would be completely out of the state. It's just unbelievable. But, he has more support in California than he does in Maryland. That's where I think 90-some% of all of his contributions come from.
Yeah. We're talking with Maryland Governor Larry Hogan on the Newsmaker line, 841 92.7 WGMD, the Talk of Delmarva. Now, Governor, I joked with Patrick O'Keefe from the Republican State Party that the Washington Post and the Baltimore Sun did a coin flip on who would endorse you, because at least one of them had to. But now, all joking aside, though, that's not something that you see often. That's for sure. And of the two, it does actually seem like the Post, at least at times, has been maybe a little bit more fair. But that all said, though, getting that endorsement, though, that is a big deal.
Well, thank you. I was proud to get it. It is a very unusual thing, I think, and typically they would support a Democratic candidate. But I think the Post was very fair in saying that they thought we had done a good job and worked in a bipartisan way. And I think in places like around the Washington suburbs, particularly, it's a well-respected paper nationally, but in Montgomery County and places like that, it can make a real difference to have the Post saying such good things about me.
Sure. No, absolutely. All right, let's talk about the Drive for 5 goal, although I know that potentially up to 8 seats for the state Senate. But as you know, the Senate 38 race that's going on between Mary Beth Carrozza and the incumbent Senator Jim Mathias, this is big. And to me, I just do not believe that the party leaders and the Democrat Party represents the Eastern Shore very well at all. And we've seen that with paid sick leave. We saw with school accountability. We saw that those are two big votes that the current senator decided to go against you on. And I get concerned, too, about redistricting, that if the Democrats don't like the map that you'll put out, which I know will be fair, but they have no interest in making things fair in the state because that means they lose power, that, will he vote to override your veto, or will he vote with the Shore? And, I just don't know.
Well, I think it's pretty clear if you look at the track record. The current senator, whenever the president of the Senate, Mike Miller, tells him to vote to override a veto, he votes to override a veto, and that's just the way it is. And it's sad because in some cases he may not even want to do so, but he can't vote with the folks on the Shore. He has to vote with the Democratic Party bosses, and that's time and time again on the key issues. Yeah. That's what happened, and that's why it's so important for us to elect Mary Beth Carrozza as the next state senator, so that they won't continue to be able to override every single veto. I'm all about bipartisanship and reaching across the aisle, but when you have a 2/3 majority and you have party bosses that order them to just vote the party line on all these things, it's difficult to get anything done.
Well, and two things that came out of the debate the other night that I had a problem with. He mentioned the phosphorus management tool, and look, that was something that your administration did a good job at bringing the chicken farmers to the table and giving them a voice that they didn't have in the O'Malley administration. So why didn't they, under his leadership of Senate 38, District 38? Why didn't they have more of a voice with the O'Malley administration? They clearly didn't, but they did with you. But then he's trying to take credit for it.
Well, no, that's look. We were very proud to get that done. The O'Malley administration for 8 years was trying to push this thing and couldn't care less about the Eastern Shore or the poultry farmers, and was really trying to stick it to them. And there was only one group at the table, and that was just environmentalists. Right. And I said, we've got to bring everybody together and hammer out a compromise that maybe not everybody's thrilled with, but that everybody can live with. And that's exactly what we did do. But, that leadership was not there in the previous administration. No question about that.
Yeah. And then the funding for the convention center, he made it sound like he had something to do with that final round. Well, he actually didn't get that done. And you made the announcement with Mary Beth Carrozza this summer at the convention center that you're going to have it in the next budget and you're going to get it done. But he was unable to do that. I'm not saying he didn't try. I'm sure he did. But he was unable to bring that round of funding home.
Well, that's a good point. I'm sure he did. He obviously, I think he did care about the convention center. He probably did try, but he was
I don't doubt that. Yeah.
And the legislature did not get it passed, and we're moving forward in spite of that.
Yeah. We're talking with Maryland Governor Larry Hogan. And let's final policy note here. The Sick Leave Act, which we were hoping to get a 120-day exemption, that didn't happen. But I know that you're doing your best to help those businesses deal with that, and just in general, not just on the shore necessarily, but just talk about the September 17th announcement supporting small business with the Paid Sick Leave Act.
Well, it's we're obviously, this was an issue again where the legislature overrode a veto, and the senator was on the wrong side of that veto override vote. But look, we had a compromise proposal that would have provided sick leave and would have not shut down small businesses, and it would have protected the businesses on the shore who have, are not employing, and not all of them are employing those people all year round. And we were out there all alone trying to get it done in the Senate, and that's why we're looking to make a change.
Yeah. Governor, as we wrap things up, I'll let you give some parting words to folks on the shore, and I would just say that let's not take anything for granted. We need a big turnout, but I'll let you get in your closing statement, if you will, to the Eastern Shore.
Well, you stole my statement, Mike. That's exactly what I would say as well. I don't want to take anything for granted. I know people hear about, polling numbers, and a lot of people come up to me and say, this is in the bag, or you got this. And I want to dissuade that kind of thinking. The only poll that matters is the one on Election Day, and I want to encourage everybody to get out there and vote. I'm running really hard day and night because I'm running like I'm 20 points down. And I want people to get out there and make sure that their vote is cast and vote is heard. And with early voting, there's really no excuse. You've got a couple of weeks here to get your votes in, and we want to make sure the shore is well represented.
Well, again, I want to thank you, Governor, and I want to thank your administration for the accessibility here. And because we're the only talk show that covers politics for the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Of course, we cover Delaware as well. But I'm really appreciative of that. And I know our listeners are, and I've had a lot of people say that to me. And in fact, this, I believe, was the first station you did a media interview back when you were running Change Maryland with one of our former afternoon hosts. So you're a longtime member of the station, if you will. But I really appreciate it. Well, it does mean a lot to us.
Well, thank you, Mike. That's where I got my start, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Back there in Change Maryland. Nobody else would listen to me, so I appreciate it and haven't forgotten it. I'm going to keep talking to you. I know my opponent was talking about running for governor of Virginia, and now he's in New York and he's going to California. But hey, if you need me to weigh in on Delaware, since you cover that as well, just let me know.
Will do. I have a lot of folks that would love to have you as governor of Delaware as well. They're first state residents. Maybe we can get them to move across the state lines. But Governor,
I'm just going to stay focused on right here.
I know. You got plenty to focus on. Governor, thank you so much for your time, and it's certainly best wishes. Of course, personally, you've got my vote, and we look forward to talking to you right after a winning election.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
You got it. Okay. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan joining us on the Newsmaker line.